Welcome to VPG's Virtual Water Cooler Chat Podcast, a platform that features professionals across a variety of industries and promotes growth mindset principles with a central pillar of championing the achievements of women. Our conversations explore a wide spectrum of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, creating a vibrant mosaic that enriches our collective understanding and strengthens our commitment to growth and empowerment. Welcome to Season 4 of Virtual Water Cooler Chat, where VPG founder Ashley Cheung is kicking off the season in conversation with best-selling author, entrepreneur, and, maybe most importantly, teacher, Seth Godin. In addition to launching one of the most popular blogs in the world, he has written 22 best-selling books, including The Dip, Linchpin, Purple Cow, Tribes, and What to Do When It's Your Turn. And it's always your turn. In 2024, Seth released This is Strategy, which reimagines strategy as the philosophy of becoming. He has also given 5 TED Talks and was inducted into both the Direct Marketing Hall of Fame and the Marketing Hall of Fame. Let's get started.
Good morning, Seth. How are you doing?
Great, Ashley. How are you?
Oh my God, you are. I've been binge watching some of your episodes. I was like, which one do I want to focus on? And I really want to respect you for not having a list of questions because I come from the legal space and everything had to be prepped and then it has to be approved and just crazy. That's
no one wants to hear that.
Yes, I know, but I'm just telling you that's how I live my life.
I totally hear you.
For a long time.
But we're here for each other in the audience. We're having a conversation. It's terrific.
Thank you so much for saying yes to this, because you could have totally rejected me. And I have had many, many rejections. I think I'm really okay with it because, it's about finding people in your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 3 things that I want to kind of talk about. In general, we start with ideation, and then we talk about creating based on your ideas, and then we'll talk about strategy. And that's kind of how I want to frame this. And then we kind of let it go wherever it goes. What makes an idea a good idea? I don't even want to say remarkable because for the last almost 6 years, I started a company. I left my job and started to become a solopreneur, and I don't have one single employee, but I have a group of really creative and talented freelancers, and I love them.
Terrific.
So for the most part, when I started the company Virtual Patent Gateway, it was to help patent practitioners to file their cases and cut out the middleman. So I'm kind of a disruptor. And nobody really, there's some people that believe in me and my ability, but I think there were so many people that were so much doubt about where I am going to lead this enterprise, where this is going. So it was a good idea, but good ideas don't always succeed. So can we talk a little bit about what makes an idea a good one?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. I think we have to begin by understanding that what it is to be in a community, particularly one that's based on business or capitalism, is we're solving other people's problems. If you don't solve somebody else's problem, then they're not going to engage with you. And then you don't get a chance to solve your problem. So if your problem is, I need to make money, or your problem is, I need to feel fulfilled, or your problem is, I need to be respected, the only way to solve those problems is to solve other people's problems. So what makes an idea a good one is we're very clear about who's it for and what's it for. Who exactly needs this? Can I point to those people? Okay. Does it make the change I seek to make in a way that they trust, that they believe in? Did I create enough tension that they take action? When those things occur, after the fact, we say, that was a good idea. And it doesn't have to be a big idea to be a good idea. So let me give you the silliest example. This is the example that changed my life in 1983. It's my first job, 23 years old. There's no voicemail, there's no email. The fax machine is just getting installed. And when I walk into the office, there's a little plastic spinner that has 40 or 50 slots in it. And if someone would call during the day, they'd leave you a message and the receptionist would write it on a little pink pad while you were out. And then they would put it in the slot with your name on it. Make sense so far?
Yep.
But the slots aren't in alphabetical order because the company's growing. They're not going to rebuild the thing every single time they hire a new employee. So they're sort of random. So I walk in my first day, I see this carousel, and I say to myself selfishly, I'm going to be here for the next 2 months as a summer intern. I'm going to go out, get in the morning. I'm going to go out for lunch, one other thing. So I'm going to have to spin and spin and spin this thing over and over and over again and find my slot. That's silly. So I take a paper clip and I put it next to my name because now I know I'll just be able to spin to my paperclip and I've saved myself all this time. But what I also realize is I'm opening the door to save the other 30 people a couple minutes a day. And so within 24 hours, because I made it safe, the whole thing is festooned with pipe cleaners, colored paper. Everyone had their own little thing, or they were next to someone who did. So this is a good idea. It's a good idea because who's it for? The people at work. What's it for? To save them a minute and a half a day. Did it cost them anything? No. Did I take an existential risk by doing it? Not really. My boss could have just taken the paper clip off. That's what a good idea feels like. And it could be something as big as a multi-billion-dollar business or as little as putting a paper clip in the spinner. Who's it for and what's it for?
I love that. I have an example. First started, it was mostly for filing for patent practitioners because those are the customers that I have actually served during my 2 decades of patent paralegal career. So when I first came out, officially VPG was supposed to be only doing that. And then I started, there's some early adopters that really love it. And I'm a small business. I don't need everybody to come and hire me because
you need almost no one actually.
I need very little, my very smallest viable audience. So I got those, but then, because I was in litigation for a long time, so it started giving me some free time because I was a workaholic and I worked a lot before. So when I came out, one of the things I started having all this free time because I didn't have to be on call all the time and I can set my own rules and set my own pricing. And early on when the pricing, I think the insecurity in me, because I wasn't sure whether the business will stay open, actually.
Of course.
Because you never know. And there's so much doubt out there.
Yep.
For example, someone actually asked me before I even started, was like, how long is this adventure of yours going to take?
Gotta love lawyers.
You know what I said? My response at the time was, well, I don't know, as long as it takes. And then if it doesn't work, I have very great marketable skills.
Right.
So I will be fine. I don't think people expected that I would say something like that. Part of it is when you surrounded yourself in the legal industry for a long time, especially with top-notch practitioners, you have to develop enough self-confidence to sort of survive in that tank. So I think that really helps. So my father was also an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, he passed in 2017.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is okay because I know that he's in a much better place and he was diabetic and he passed literally in 4 hours. So it was pretty traumatic for the family.
He must have been so proud of you.
I think he is. He must be. And I was in Times Square to do my book launch, I think on Wednesday, and I just came back yesterday. So all of this is and I gave him a tribute during the book launch because instead of just coming out and just sign books, I'm like, how boring is that? So I put together this panel of amazing women, including a 21 years old illustrator, because I want her to be visible. I mean, our world is kind of chaotic right now, not kind of, very chaotic right now. And then there's so many stereotypes across generations, across communities. And I wanted to do something different. I'm in Virginia, so I got up early on Wednesday morning and trained up to New York with my friend. And then we just walk around until almost 4 o'clock. Then we went over to Temple by Hilton. And I collaborated with this guy that is the CEO of Tavern Community Co-working. So it's sort of like a WeWork, but they're trying to create a physical social space for people. And Ben happens to be also, a young Jewish entrepreneur. And I met him at another event at the same location. And I was attracted by the neon sign in the back. I was like, you know what? I should do a book launch here, but I don't want to just be me talking. So I just thought, oh, well, great idea. Maybe it will work. Maybe it wouldn't. So I collaborated with him and say, what does it take? How much does it cost? Because you have to pay money and all these things. And also who will show up. I honestly didn't know how to market it because we live in such a content and attention-seeking economy, whether they are going to show up for you, people follow people, in my opinion, for self-interest.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, right? I went to events at times, I'm like, did I get anything out of this?
Right.
So I don't want to curate an event that just like, come support Ashley. I want it to be more than that. And I wanted it to be a theme, supporting entrepreneurs like each other, and then supporting a 21-year-old. She was so articulate. I was like, oh my God, when I was 21, I don't know what I'm talking about. And we also invited her parents. So they drove up from Albany to see and witness her daughter's work. And then I invited a non-profit founder of a group that I actually belong to. And she supported me by showing up. And some of the people in that community, Empower Women That Rock, that actually come and shows up. And some of the people that I was hoping would show up did not show up.
Of course not. Yeah.
I am really learning to sort of resonate how this all authorship and writing the book, because I didn't write the book really for other people. It was something that magically happened.
It wasn't magic, Ashley.
It wasn't magic. Well, it was sort of like, I guess maybe serendipity.
It was unexpected.
Okay.
But you put a lot of effort into it.
Oh, I did. I wrote 3 books, but mostly it's because they're illustrated. And it all started out with, you're right, it's not magic. So I love supporting other people because during my journey, I don't always get supported. I told you about all the freelancers that I have and the people on my team, especially the young ones. I just feel really connected with them. But some of them were like really lost and not necessarily having people to guide them. And I used to be a case manager. So my metric is like, okay, are we going to meet this deadline? Are we going to get the best work product out? If you're running a team, you have to be a manager. And so when being a manager, you can't always show and exhibit empathy because you have another goal that is conflicting with the...
Oh, whoa.
Okay?
I don't like the way you just used the word empathy, but keep going.
And that's why we are having this conversation. It is definitely consistent with how Seth is doing this. So, for example, sometimes when I was a manager, there would be a group of people that I would basically have to set up shift to get work done. And there are people consistently come back and say, oh, I have to watch my parents' dog. I have to go to a book club. And the person and the other people that do not generally speak up, unfortunately, will get kind of roped in to do overtime. So I think that's what I mean. Sometimes I have to tell the people that have a lot of reasoning that conflicts with the actual deadline and the responsibility. I think that's what I mean by not exhibiting empathy.
Let me give you a ridiculous story to help you understand this.
Okay.
The people who finish the Boston Marathon are just like the people who get to mile 24 and drop out. They're both tired. The difference is the people who finish figure out where to put the tired, and the people who drop out can't figure that out. That's what it is to train for a marathon, to figure out where to put the tired. Okay. If you're coaching somebody and they say, I'm really, really tired, we can have empathy for that. We know what it's like to be tired. But our job as their coach is to say, I hear you, I see you, but we all signed up to finish the marathon. So let me help you understand that figuring out where to put the tired is why you're here. So if you're managing a team of people and someone says, I need to watch my parents' dog, you can have empathy for this, their obligation to their parents, whatever it is. But you can also say, yeah, but people like us, we do things like this. If you want to be part of this team, you've got to figure out what to do about your parents' dog. I'm happy to brainstorm with you, but I can't change our goal that we all agreed on. And that is this act of non-bullying leadership, to be able to say, this is what we signed up for. We signed up to run a 3-star restaurant together. And I get that you're exhausted. I have empathy for that. I've been exhausted too. Yet, and we signed up to run a 3-star restaurant. Can't have both at the same time. Can't run a 3-star restaurant and not be tired. So if you want to be on this bus, please get on the bus. If you don't want to be on the bus, I get it. You're excused, but you can't have both.
The example I gave you is when I was working for other people and I assumed a manager role, and I did talk to people about that, but I didn't really have authority. So a lot of time I ended up, not my greatest moment, but not being able to actually hold people accountable if they still stay on the bus.
If you don't have authority, you're not a manager.
Okay.
You're being asked to lead. Leadership is voluntary. So you have to create the conditions for people to choose to do what you're saying. You don't get to say, if you don't do what I say, you're fired. So they're different jobs. Leadership is thrilling and leadership is voluntary. Signing up for a job where you have no authority and where your leadership is undermined, probably not a job for you to sign up for.
I mean, I think when it works, it actually gives me so much fulfillment. Like I have had amazing people in the last 6 years, and each person teach me so much, even when things didn't go right. So I think that's one thing that made this particular journey especially worthwhile.
Yeah, it's growth.
Yes.
Well done.
Well, growth sometimes can be painful. So let's talk about creating. We talked a little bit about ideation and creating. I have to give you credit for that book, The Practice. So my very first book, I'm a recovering perfectionist. So the very first book, Building a Leadership Habitat, it was with a 20-year-old Korean American illustrator. We kind of built my company with different animal avatars as sort of to give each one of us identity and also creating psychological safety for everyone.
And what was your avatar?
I'm an owl. Because I love Winnie the Pooh.
You're a cartoon owl.
I'm a cartoon owl.
Because real life owls, they're not nice.
Yes, I'm a cartoon owl. I'm a Winnie the Pooh owl. So yes, the illustrator is, for that one, is a zebra. I know her mom from my previous work, and her mom told me that, is that something that you could actually help my daughter with? Because she is an incredible illustrator, but she doesn't really talk. I was like, well, I mean, a lot of artists are extreme introvert, and I've learned so much from her. I mean, she is quite an illustrator, but the thing is, like, she doesn't want to talk to people. So when we first started, oh my God, it's like yes and no in terms of a response. And she'll get her job done, but she would not respond to me. And when we get on the Zoom, it was very painstaking. She was with me for about a year and a half. And then when I first approached her, I was like, Michelle, would you like to illustrate something for my book? She was like, what is it about? I'm like, well, basically all about
That's a long sentence from her. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what is it about? Yeah. So eventually we did 2 books together, Building a Leadership Habitat and then Collaborating in Competitive Ecosystem. The first one is just like different characters that we put in the different chapters. So it wasn't very sort of expansive. But the second one, I had I don't like public speaking. And most people think that I am an extrovert, but I am not. I'm at best an ambivert. So starting my own, creating this company sort of like forces me into a space that I was so uncomfortable with, like speaking with people, representing my company, going on a podcast. I have all this insecurity. So one thing that I really wanted to do for her is that basically we go on Zoom meeting and we record. Because the best way to find out, where you need improvement and growth is when you look at your own recording. Our second book, we create the illustrations based on my writing of the chapters and then take turn with her to do voiceover for the characters. And then we create the illustration based on that.
Beautiful.
I just thought that I want to give you credit because I give myself credit too, but until I read The Practice, I was not willing to ship the creative work. And then once I see that, and I think that is, I know that is based on my fear of people criticizing my work, not being good enough, but in whose eyes? So I wanted to kind of get your feedback on what I have said so far.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here, but the whole idea of experiencing failure in advance is a key symptom of resistance. Resistance is Steve Pressfield's term for anything that holds us back. Writer's block is invented. There's no such thing, but it's convenient to invent writer's block because now you have an excuse to not put yourself out there. The reality of market failure is a tiny fraction of the imagination of market failure. No one actually cares enough about you to laugh at you.
Yes.
They're just going to ignore you. And if enough people ignore you, you might fail, but nothing bad's going to happen because they're ignoring you. And so the way I like to think about it, and I think I know the story's in The Practice because I was listening to it last week. If you got a job as a lifeguard, and Ashley, are you a swimmer? Do you swim?
I know you are.
I am a swimmer. But to be a great lifeguard is a real commitment compared to being a good lifeguard. So if you get a job, if you're 17 years old and you get a job at a beach as a lifeguard and there's 6 of you on the beach, you're probably not the best lifeguard on the beach. You're definitely not the best lifeguard in the state. right? It's easy to feel like a fraud. It's easy to hold back. If somebody right in front of your station, let's say the kid's name is Robin and he's 6, starts to drown, you don't say, I hope someone down the beach comes and saves you. You don't say, I hope the best lifeguard in Michigan comes and saves you. You get in the water and you pull the kid out, right? Why? Is it because you did it for you? I don't think so. You did it for the kid. You were needed and you showed up. That's what it is to be a generative artist or entrepreneur. That this book needs illustrations. The illustrations are going to help the reader. I'm the best available person to do these illustrations today. I'm going to do it for the reader, right? That's lifeguarding. Lifeguarding cuts through the resistance because if you're a generous person, if you're not a psychopath, you're not going to let the kid drown. So if you're actually doing something of value, don't hold back because it's for other people. And the punchline of the story is the kid she saved, Robin, his grandfather founded the company that makes most of the lifeguard buoys and uniforms in the United States. And the irony that they were going to lose their beautiful grandson to drowning is just too much to bear. And nobody knows the name of this woman who saved his life. That's fine. She didn't sign up to be famous. She signed up to save somebody.
To let you know the progress that she made, she left my company about a year ago. The day that I went to do a coffee collab in Atlanta, I was at the airport. I got her resignation email. It was a beautifully written email. It's not just yes and no. And her mom said that, how does she know to give 2 weeks notice? I'm like, she doesn't owe me 2 weeks because like even at will, you don't owe 2 weeks. So
Sure.
she basically first thanked me for giving her so much opportunity and be there with her the entire time. I cry at the airport. And then the second thing that she said to me was that I don't know that I would be able to go out and do this new job if it weren't for you.
Well done.
And then she said that I'll give you 2 weeks notice. I don't start until this time. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you with transition.
That's beautiful.
At that time, she was 20 years old. I mean, we still do some like art projects together, but she does not like worry about money for some reason. And in fact, she does not want to commercialize her art. And that's something
fine.
that I love for her because, most people are like really just capitalizing on their arts. And so few people, especially at such young age, really just do their art for the sake of loving being an artist.
I think hobbies are fantastic. I have many hobbies. I'm in favor of hobbies. Where we create tension is when we expect to get paid for our hobby. And then all of a sudden there's a gap because we do a hobby for ourselves. If you're going to get paid, it needs to be for someone else.
Transitioning into the strategy. This is strategy. And I love that book again. The things that actually I have to keep reminding me is about when you said that when you run out of time and money, it's game over. So that is something that honestly, I've never been an entrepreneur before. So running a business, before it was just me. Now I have about 8 to 10 people that I need to support, and they support me vice versa. So decisions, when I'm making strategic decision, and the way that you talk about strategy as being the philosophy of becoming, but we haven't been there yet. So it's really require a lot of vision and foresight.
Right.
And sometimes it might work, many times it wouldn't. So I want to talk a little bit about this other vision that I had, creating on-demand courses. So for paralegals and legal practitioners, we have to do like Blue Book site checking. It's like MLA, it's just the legal site checking. When I was a young paralegal, I took this course and webinars from this particular attorney, and she's been in the paralegal education for a long time.
And you took it for CLE credit or for something else?
No, I took it because I need to learn how to do it.
Okay.
So there's different type of paralegals. Some of them, they would need CLE, especially the one in California. They need to be. And then there's also certified paralegal. I didn't have to do it, but I usually take courses because I'm curious and I also wanted to learn. And that would help you level up in the field. So it's not because it's mandatory, but I know this person, she has been in the field for a paralegal educator for Georgetown and George Washington for a long time, university. And when I came out to start the business, now at firms, I didn't necessarily have to do it because we have so many other people and lawyers don't always trust everyone and they're very risk averse. And especially I'm in the patent space and, you don't want to screw up on site checking. So certain people will get the chance of doing that. I have to admit that I wasn't strong in site checking. because I was strong in litigation and filing and things like that. So anyway, when I came out, I was like, oh my God, I don't have anyone to delegate to. And I need to learn this. And in fact, I need to train people to do this. So I contacted that practitioner. I said, would you like to train someone for me and myself included? So we started like having basically training for my team. And then other law firms got wind and know that I'm doing this. And said, would you be able to include us?
Sure.
I said, sure. This is how much I'm going to charge. I now also have a steady sort of like a webinar, for the legal industry, for paralegals. Then one day it got disrupted because the instructor, she was in California and they happened to have power outage. And I was basically on the hook as the organizer. I had to basically refund and do a lot of different things. And that's how it led into the on-demand courses. And we had some early adopters because on-demand, it basically requires people to trust both not only you as the organizer, but the people that are actually learning, because they will need to have incredible self-discipline. And also, how do you know that they are going to not just multitask?
Yep.
So that was one of the dilemma. And it's actually been like 3 years and I still keep investing in it. And then this particular practitioner, she retired in January of this year. And she and I had talked about it. And I think that she and I had also developed the trust. She knows that I'm not going to cheat her.
Right.
She also knows that I would exercise discretion when it comes to other companies or firms that want her to do something, that I would be transparent with her and not necessarily, because there's no way of her knowing. Well, maybe there would be a way, but generally speaking, I don't think there's a way that she would know whether how much I'm selling and all these things. So I just thought about like this on-demand courses. It's really an interesting creation that it's been for 3 years. And now we're getting traction. And I was like, maybe I've become the Udemy of site checking. So what are your thoughts?
Udemy is a fascinating place to start. Udemy is a two-sided marketplace. That's not what you want.
No.
Udemy says, if you're an instructor, you're over here. If you're a student over here, we'll make a connection between you. Your problem is, why would someone pay money for a course like this? Because people pay money for a CLE course for a very specific reason. They don't want to learn anything. They just got to check a box. You can take every MIT course online for free. People pay money to go to MIT because accreditation, because they want to be in the room, because they want to feel like they got picked, because of the social element, not because of what's being taught. They can do that at home for free. When we think about how someone who isn't a geeky early adopter thinks about on-demand learning, it begins with a really key question, which is, will this be on the test? Because we got indoctrinated from a young age that if it's not going to be on the test, don't bother paying attention. Because the only reason to go to class is to pass the test, right? If you could pass the test without going to class, you would. In your situation where there is no accreditation, there's no point in having a test. So will this be on the test is a really bad question. The question instead is, who will I become after I go through this, after I engage in this? And as someone who, pioneered a lot of online learning, what I found is most people don't want that. Most people want, how little can I get away with and get the prize at the end? Because they're busy. They got other things going on in their life. They don't care about this as much as I do. So either you obsess about just engaging with the people who want to be there. That's what the Alt MBA was. But after we hit just over 5,000 graduates, and like every incremental person's harder because they're still thinking the old way. Or you go build something that has a version of accreditation, that has a version of tests, that has a version of, I got through this and I can prove it, status. And if you can succeed at that and people are like listing it on their LinkedIn and stuff, then you're off to the races.
I think that we've covered ideation, creation, and strategy. Thank you so much for your insight. And I want to kind of leave by letting you know that something exciting that is happening is that this particular on-demand courses caught some attention of a large nonprofit. I love what you said about the accreditation, because most of the time the paralegals, for example, that they don't necessarily need that accreditation, but what they need to know is knowing after taking the course that they will be their employers, and then whoever that pays for their learning will know that they know how to do the job.
Exactly.
So I was given the opportunity to do a pitch to this particular nonprofit, and I chatted with the paralegal supervisor. We are curating content and tests and exercise and basically get the group of people that are doing very meaningful work right now
Yeah.
to get the experience, because otherwise, this person has already retired. They're not necessarily going to get it. So I could basically say, no, I don't have time for this. But instead, we took the time and had a 1-hour call, and we just spitball on the different options. And I thought that is something that I wanted to close this on. It's about serving your smallest viable audience.
That's brilliant. Love to hear this.
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
ruckus you're making.
I
It's
am
really
making a
pleasure.
ruckus. Yes.
Go, Ashley, go.